Before we get into it, make sure you visit ricetvx.com and sign up for my mailing list so you never miss an update or new Rice TVX and Rice Against the Grain content. You will also find links to all of my various channels as well as my social media. Make sure you're following both of my YouTube channels, Rice TVX as well as Rice Against the Grain. And due to censorship, make sure you follow me on other alternative platforms such as Rumble and Odyssey, where I do post up exclusive content. If you want to support Rice TVX, be sure to check out and join my Patreon channel, where you will get early access to my videos with no ads, unedited. You will also get exclusive content and more. This whole time, I thought I was in a stream, and I guess you could not hear a word that I said, unfortunately. And I certainly do apologize. I wish I would have known that. But we always have to learn from our mistakes, and that was a mistake that I made. So it is well enough that people of our nation do not understand our banking and monetary system. For if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning. Welcome back to Rice TVX. Thank you for tuning in for today's Rice Report, talking about what they do not want you to know from an FDIC leak. Again, make sure you guys smash that like button. I do apologize for the silence from myself in the beginning of that video. I ended up having to exit out of my StreamYard and re-enter because it would not allow me to go live the first time, and I had everything set up, ready to go. But then once I had to exit out and re-enter, I did not have everything set up and ready to go. So I certainly do apologize for that. But thank you again for tuning in. If you guys have not smashed that like button, be sure to smash that like button. Also, make sure you are subscribed to both of my YouTube channels, not only here on Rice TVX, but also my sister channel, Rice Against the Grain. If you guys are fans of the Stranger Than Fiction content, you will now find that over on Rice Against the Grain. And I'll be making a video talking a little bit more about that and probably releasing that tomorrow or in the next couple days. So the first thing that I want to do, I want to go ahead and get my screen share set up properly, and then I'm going to share a video. This is something that you guys should definitely be sharing with everybody that you know. This is very important information that we need to get out. This is an FDIC leaked video that came out. This particular article and everything that I'm going to be sharing, as always, is linked down below in the video description. But this comes from G. Edward Griffin's Need to Know News. You can find this at needtoknow.news. And this is about the FDIC bankers discuss bail-ins to deal with impending market collapse. Now, this came out on January the 2nd. I found out about it a couple days ago from Gregory Manarino. Shout out to Mr. Manarino for sharing that information. Ultimately, this came from a tweet from Wall Street Silver at Wall Street SILV, and that came out on December the 28th with this actual leaked tape. What they don't want the public to see in this video: the bankers don't trust the banks. This is in November of 22. They're talking about the financial crisis and their lack of faith in our banking system and how to keep the public from freaking out. This comes from the FDIC. This is the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. Okay. Now, I want to go ahead real quick and play the video. And again, you're going to need to make sure you share this with your friends and family, everybody that you know, because people need to know this information. So here is the leaked video from the FDIC.
It should be accessible when people need to know, but I don't think you have much hope of reaching a public that doesn't have a professional need to know.
I completely agree with that. I almost think you'd scare the public if you put this out. Like, why are they telling me this? Should I be concerned about my bank? Like, my insurance company doesn't tell me what they're doing with my assets. They just assume they're going to pay my claim. Right? I think you've got to think of the unintended consequences of taking a public that has more full faith and confidence in the banking system than maybe people in this room do. That we want them to have full faith and confidence in the banking system. They know the FDIC insurance is there. They know it works. They put their money in. They're going to get their money out. So there's a select crowd of people that are in the institutional side. And if they want to understand this, they're going to find a way to understand this. There's a bunch of law firms represented in this room. There's a bunch of people that'll charge them by the hour a lot of money to explain this all to them. And it's fine. I don't have a problem with that. And they all have huge staffs. But I would be careful about the unintended consequences of starting to blast too much of this out in the general public.
Yeah, I will play that again. And again, these will be linked down below so that you can share this with everybody that you know. Share this video, share the links, because people need to know about this. I will come to the live chat comments here after I'm done exploring everything that I was going to be sharing on today's video, which is not going to be a very long video. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up this next screen share, and this comes from Forbes Advisor. This is a really good article just explaining in a little bit of detail what the FDIC is and how it works. I encourage you to, if you're not really familiar with the FDIC, if you want to do a deeper dive, the links again are down below, and I definitely encourage you to do so, because I'm not going to be reading the entirety of this. Just kind of highlighting a few things. The FDIC, which stands for the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, is an independent government agency that oversees the banking industry. The FDIC's primary duty is to insure deposits at U.S. member banks in case they fail. In addition to providing deposit insurance, the FDIC supervises and examines banks and savings associated across the country to make sure they're operating soundly. The FDIC serves as a primary federal regulatory agency for banks that are chartered by states but are not part of the Federal Reserve System. How does it work? It talks about them protecting your investments. The FDIC works by protecting consumer deposits at member banks. The FDIC does not protect deposits held at credit unions. Instead, credit unions are generally insured by a National Credit Union Administration, the NCUA. Protecting your investments. The FDIC insures deposit accounts at member banks. The types of accounts that the FDIC covers includes checking accounts, savings, money market deposit accounts, the certificate of deposit or CD accounts, and cashier checks, money orders, and other official items issued by the bank. Now, insuring against bank failure. A bank failure means that a bank is unable to meet its financial obligations to its debt depositors and creditors. Banks' failures in the U.S. are rare. There are none reported in 2021 and just 4 reported in 2020. When a member FDIC bank fails, the FDIC steps in to protect deposits. The agency first attempts to complete the acquisition of the failed bank by another financial institution. Depositors don't lose access to their funds, and their account is simply moved to the acquiring bank. Talks about what is FDIC insurance, what does the FDIC cover, facts. They had started back in 1933 with the Banking Act of 1933, the same time period as the confiscation of gold in the United States from U.S. citizens to the U.S. government, in addition to the creation of the securities and the SEC, the Security Exchange Commission. The FDIC protects you against bank failure. Now, here's the ironic part about that. If there were enough people in enough banks that decided to withdraw their money all at the same time, and it would depend on how much money everybody has in that account and how many people actually did this, but they would actually bankrupt the bank. The bank would not have enough funds to be able to give to all of their customers, especially if 100% of the people came in, but just a certain percentage, because banks are not required to have any reserves. And I encourage you, if you have any money, go to the bank and try to withdraw some of it. Try to withdraw a large amount of money. Somebody that I know was withdrawing an extremely large amount to pay somebody cash for some work that was being done. And it took them 3 days to be able to get, I think, $20,000 to be able to pay somebody for some work with cash. So take that in consideration. The banks are not in a very good position right now. Again, I will come to the comments here at the end of the video. I'm not going to continue reading it, but I will let you know that it is a $250,000 max coverage that can apply more than once. As stated by the FDIC, the standard insurance amount in the bank of failure is $250,000 per depositor, per insured bank for each account ownership category. So if enough people went to enough banks and withdrew their money, the FDIC would have to come to the rescue, and then in the process, it would bankrupt the FDIC, which would bankrupt the United States. So that's something to really think about. Fractional reserve banking, where basically banks can reserve 9 to 10 times more than they have as deposited money in the banks. So whatever they have total deposits, they can lend out 9 to 10 times beyond that, and they are not required to have any of that money in the bank. So there is obviously some concern about a bank run. And I will stress again, because this quote is probably one of the most important quotes and so relevant to what I'm talking about right now. Henry Ford said, "It is well enough." Well, let me get rid of my logo here. I will repeat. Henry Ford said, "It is well enough that people of our nation do not understand our banking and monetary system. For if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning." Our financial system is not in a good position right now, ladies and gentlemen. I've been talking about this for years. I've been interviewing people who have been talking about this for years. Look what is happening to the US dollar. Look what is happening to the large amount of inflation that we're experiencing. Look what's happening globally. Look what's happening to other currencies against the United States dollar. Look at the BRICS nation banks. That includes Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, I believe Iran, and other nations. And they are creating their own reserve currency, their own world reserve currency backed by gold. The Russian ruble being backed by gold. The US dollar backed by nothing. Nothing. Fiat money by decree of the king, by the decree of the government. If you take a monopoly bill and a US dollar bill, the only difference in between those two pieces of paper is that you think one actually has value over another, because they are both worthless pieces of paper. Military script. It's just make-believe. So I will play this video once again in case you missed it, and then I will share the article where this comes from.
It should be accessible when people need to know, but I don't think you have much hope of reaching a public that doesn't have a professional need to know.
I completely agree with that. I almost think you'd scare the public if you put this out. Like, why are they telling me this? Should I be concerned about my bank? Like, my insurance company doesn't tell me what they're doing with my assets. They just assume they're going to pay my claim. Right? I think you've got to think of the unintended consequences of taking a public that has more full faith and confidence in the banking system than maybe people in this room do. That we want them to have full faith and confidence in the banking system. They know the FDIC insurance is there. They know it works. They put their money in. They're going to get their money out. So there's a select crowd of people that are in the institutional side. And if they want to understand this, they're going to find a way to understand this. There's a bunch of law firms represented in this room. There's a bunch of people that'll charge them by the hour a lot of money to explain this all to them. And it's fine. I don't have a problem with that. And they all have huge staffs. But I would be careful about the unintended consequences of starting to blast too much of this out in the general public.
I really think people need to share this video. Like, people need to share these links. People need to know what the FDIC is saying in meetings. And this came from a November meeting of last year, got leaked out, and it got put on Twitter by at Wall Street SILV, at Wall Street Silv. So kudos to that gentleman for sharing that information. Again, this comes from an article that was reported on. I'm trying to pull up the full screen. Bear with me 1 second. All right. So again, this comes from G. Edward Griffin's Need to Know.news. FDIC bankers discuss bail-ins to deal with impending market collapse. Now, a bail-in versus a bailout. In 2008, when we seen that crash, the banks were bailed out, which meant the governments bailed them out. But in this particular situation, this is a bail-in. Okay, this is where the depositors, the money of the depositors would become the money of the banks. You and me, the customers of the banks, would be bailing in the banks. They would be bailed out by us. That's how this works. So this is what has been kind of talked about for a couple years, because the writing is on the wall when it comes to our financial system. And if you have not, please take time to give this video a thumbs up, smash the hell out of it. It would definitely be greatly appreciated, and is one way that you can support the channel. Also, make sure you are signing up for my mailing list at Rice TVX so you can stay up to date on all things Rice, and that includes Rice TVX and Rice Against the Grain, ricetvx.com. All right, so let me go ahead and share some information from this article. It talks about the meeting. The FDIC Strategic Resolution Advisory Committee, SRAC, held a meeting in November to discuss how the next market crash would occur. Okay, now I want to stress, they had a meeting to discuss how the next market crash would occur. That means there's going to be another market crash, and what steps need to be taken to ensure not everybody tries pulling their money out of the financial system at the same time. That's called a bank run. A BANKRUN, bank run. Yeah, I was going to try to say that again, but BANKRUN, bank run. That's what that is, a bank run. And they don't want a bank run to happen, obviously. One FDIC member noted that while institutions will soon be able to figure out the dire implications of the financial collapse, the general public should not, because that would lead to unintended consequences. That would lead to you and me taking our money out of the bank. The FDIC insures $9 trillion of bank deposits with only $125 billion worth of assets. They insure $9 trillion of bank deposits with only $125 billion worth of assets. It's a big difference. That's like 775,000. No, excuse me. I'm really way off. Because we're talking 9 trillion and 125 billion. I mean, that is just an absolute crazy number. So the FDIC cannot insure everybody in a crisis when many people want to withdraw their money all at once. A critic on Twitter said, if this all goes down during 2023, we can expect the mother of all Fed QE. 5 trillion instantly on the balance sheet, expansion to bail out the banking system, and massive amounts of congressional stimulus and bailouts. The article concludes that Federal Reserve orchestrated bailouts and more inflation are inevitable if there is a market crash. So again, this came from Wall Street Silv. This is the video that I played. I took a clip of it and played it so I could share it with everybody. It's in this article. And this is some of the things that they said. You've got to think of the unintended consequences of taking a public that has more full faith and confidence in the banking system than maybe the people in this room do. Did you hear that? Did you hear what I heard? They don't have any faith in the system. We want them to have the full faith and confidence in the banking system. They know FDIC insurance is there. They know what works. They put their money in and they're going to get it out, and they're going to get their money out. He claimed that although institutions will soon figure out the dire implications of what's being discussed at the meeting, the general public should not, because it would lead to unintended consequences. That's the bank run. That's you being smart, taking your money out of the banks, because if you don't, you're going to lose it. I'm not saying this is going to happen tomorrow, but I only keep enough bank money in the bank that I need to pay my bills, and that's it. I do not use the bank to save money. This is not a place to keep your money, and I'll talk about that here towards the end of the video. And they also say I would be careful about the unintended consequences of starting to blast too much of this out to the general public. In a fitting description of fractional reserve banking, another SRAC member lamented that although institutions don't want to see a huge run on their deposits, they likely will soon, which will bring about the need to impose bail-ins. People need to understand they can't get bailed in, but you don't want a huge bail. People need to understand they can get bailed in, but you don't want a huge bank run on institutions. But there are going to be. And it could be an early warning signal to FDIC and primary regulators when these things happen, he said. There's also an additional article or a clip that was taken from the FDIC meeting showing that this is going to be going down soon and that they're expecting it. Again, this comes from a November 2022 meeting. I did not clip this, and I don't have the sound turned on where I can share that. So if you would like to watch this video, make sure you're checking out this article listed down below in the video description. So real quick, I'm going to go ahead and see what everybody has to say. I will remind people that I am doing a fundraiser. Let me pull up some information because I do have this posted up in my community section over on Rice TVX YouTube channel, but not everybody sees those. I will read this. I am doing a fundraiser to build a private website for my videos and community to replace my Patreon. So if you're a patron, you're paying month to month, you're good. If you're a patron and you've paid more than a month, I will make sure I honor that when this site is totally built and created and we start utilizing it. So I'm doing this to make myself uncensorable and having a place that I know my videos will not get removed. It's also a place that I know I could build community. There's going to be forums and a lot more ways that we can communicate on that private website that's being built. I'm offering 50 people lifetime access for $100. That helps me to raise $5,000, and you'll get special swag gift bag from me. I've been ordering, I've ordered some stickers. I have some Rice TVX and Rice Against the Grain Velcro patches coming in. I'm looking into some pens, some traditional pens that you can put on backpacks, jackets, purses, whatever the case might be. But I am looking into those and some other items, and that will be included as a very special gift, and it's going to be a very limited run of these particular items. So if you would like to participate and support what I do and get lifetime access to this private website is being built, you would email me at ricemediagroup@protonmail.com and you put lifetime in the subject line. Right now, I have 16 out of 50 spots filled. I have a few people I need to email back that have contacted me in regards to lifetime access. I need 20 people minimum to cover the initial cost to move forward for having private hosting and private servers and private hosting. That way I can avoid anybody taking down my website for whatever the case might be. And I definitely plan on doing a lot of things for the community in that fashion. So I would definitely encourage you to do that. Otherwise, I will be offering monthly memberships once the site is launched. And I'm going to be taking a lot more things that I do over there. You're still going to get content on YouTube and all the other channels. You're still going to get Rice TVX and Rice Against the Grain. But a lot of things are going to be happening first and foremost over on the private side. So if you are interested in that lifetime access, you know what to do. You can email me, and I greatly appreciate it. All right. So real quick, I want to come to the comments section or come to our live chat. And again, I appreciate everybody for being in the chat. And then I'm going to share a little bit of information in regards to, oh, and you can see information scrolling across the bottom of the screen about supporting the channel. So if you're interested in sending the $100 for the lifetime access, I have my Cash App and PayPal information. I am accepting crypto, but I would prefer to get cash because I'm going to have to sell the crypto because I need to pay for the cost for this to get done. So if you've emailed me about the lifetime access, offering to pay in crypto, and I haven't responded back, that's exactly why, but I will be getting in touch with you this weekend, and I greatly appreciate it. All right, so first off, I see a nice super chat from Crypto Facts. I appreciate. Do you know whether this leaked was first reported? Worried about deep fakes? No, I totally get you about deep fakes. Again, let me go ahead and do another screen share. It originally came, and I haven't done a deeper dive than this, but it originally came from at Wall Street Silver. And at Wall Street Silver is a good resource. A lot of people follow, 624,000 followers, only follows 5 people, verified, social media information, YouTube channel, very public. So I might take the time to check out his YouTube channel and see if he does a video talking about it and maybe share a little bit more information. But I can just tell you, just based off of, I let this sit, I marinated it for a few days before I decided to share this information. So with that being said, I really find it to be relevant. And again, this is his YouTube channel. He's got over 66,000 YouTube subscribers, so more than double the amount of my channel. So that's where the information came from, was directly there. And you can also find a link for that right here. This is the second clip that he had, and this is the first clip that he had. Again, it's all linked in this article from Need to Know News, and I greatly, greatly appreciate that super chat, Crypto Facts. Thank you so much. Again, if you guys are enjoying this video, please take time to smash that like button. Oh, the other thing that I want to remind people about that fundraiser that I'm doing for the lifetime access. Here's the cool thing, and I got a couple people in the chat that I'll highlight here in a moment that are that have joined up for the lifetime access. Until the actual website is built, I will send you via email all the Patreon videos that I'm putting out, all the early access videos and exclusive videos, giving you updates about what's going on with the channel. So exclusive content, early access, no ads, unedited. I will send them to you directly. So if you're currently a patron and you would like to just get off Patreon, because again, once this website is done, I am phasing out Patreon because that is a point of failure. So if you sign up today, you'll start getting the video. You'll start getting an email with all the videos. I have an email list put together with all the people so far that have paid. And those individuals, those 50 individuals, will get access to that limited edition swag. And I'm really excited about this patches. The patches, again, have a Velcro back. I think they're going to have a button loop. It's the Rice TVX logo with the X logo. It's going to have some glow in the dark on the blue. And then a square version of the rice against the grain with a red border. You can stick it on something that Velcros. So I'm pretty excited about that and all the other swag I'm getting. And again, it's going to be very, very limited edition. And I'm also working, in the meantime, I'm also working on getting my merch store up as well. All right, so let me go ahead and come back to the live chat. Life-size box, my friend, LFG. It's good seeing you, David. Mr. Bumblebee's in the house. Today has been a money-making day. Gotta love Steve Miller. Go on and take the money and run. I love that song. Susie Gemini, thank you for tuning in. It's good seeing you. I dare not pronounce your name except for I now, I or never. I'm not attempting it, but thank you for tuning in. I greatly appreciate. Tricky, great seeing you. Hope your night is going well, my friend. Hope everybody's night is going well as well. Going well as well. Susie Gemini, I also saw an article about AI defense attorneys. What will all the attorneys do? AI is going to be replacing a lot. It's going to be replacing a lot. Matthew Millar says, seems like a camera with manual zoom, so it's not a covert leak from a cell phone. But it could be. Seems like it was intended to be recorded. They may just record all their meetings and the information may have got leaked. Again, I will try to look a little bit more into this, but I really think it's important that people pay attention to this. Again, I would not leave anything in the bank more than you're going to need to pay your bills. And if you need to deposit money monthly, weekly, biweekly, whatever the situation might be, just keep enough to pay for your bills. Susie said she knew somebody that waited 3 days for about $20K. They're fortunate it was only 3 days. Usually takes 5 to 8. See what I'm saying? It's getting a little crazy. I try to think outside the box and think from a devil's advocate point of view. But again, I've let this sit and marinate for a couple of days, done a little looking into it, and it seems like a very legitimate leak. And I definitely wanted to share it. Thank you, Susie. I thought that was a great quote from Henry Ford as well. Again, if somebody's just tuning in and they're curious what we're talking about, we're talking about this quote right here from Mr. Henry Ford that states, "It is well enough that people of our nation do not understand our banking and monetary system. For if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning." 100%. And that's part of what I try to do here is educate people about what the financial system is all about. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to highlight all the comments. Todd Merrick, I appreciate you tuning in. The U.S. dollar is backed by definitely bombs and bullets. Wyatt Hunter, seeing this coming, order out of chaos. Am I familiar with the Federal Reserve standardized circulatory notices, especially number 10? I am not, but if you could email me, I would greatly appreciate that. Rice Media Group at protonmail.com. Todd, Mayak says Lynette, Zhang, and Mike from Rethinking the Dollar channel also talk about this a lot too. Yeah, and again, Lynette's been on the show a lot. I'm actually getting ready to talk about Lynette here in just a moment. A bailment. Tara Spence, good to see you in the house. Gulag, I did get your email, brother. I will message you back, and thank you so much for offering to support the channel. Recon John, good seeing you. Hiya. Crystal Seth, what's up? What's up, crew? It's all good to see the family in the house. Banks are definitely evil. Hello, my friend. It is good seeing you. And I thank you for the compliment. I am. And he is one of the lifetime members. Getting a lifetime subscription is a great deal. I highly recommend it. And I appreciate you saying that so much, my friend. Susie, thank you again. And I appreciate everybody that could support the channel. And if nobody's in a position to support the channel monetarily, again, hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, commenting on the videos, and sharing. Those are some of the most important things and most supportive things that you can do to help me out. And I greatly appreciate all the support I get from everybody. David's another one of the lifetime access members. Early access, unedited is nice. Yeah, because you get to cut out all the other stuff. You just get to see it raw, unfiltered rice. Thoughts on Rumble? Yes, I mean, I'm building my Rumble channel. So I do encourage people to make sure you guys are following me on Rumble. If you're not already subscribed over there, you can find me, Rice TVX. I have 542 people that are subscribed over there, and I am doing live streams over there that I'm not doing on Rice TVX, and I am putting up exclusive content as well. Actually, if you look through the exclusive content, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this comment for a moment and click back on Rumble. I put out a video on YouTube. It's a clip, A Minute Rice, Humans Will Be Hackable Animals. You can see the full interview. That is way too hot, way too controversial for YouTube because it already got deleted from YouTube. I put it on a backup channel for Patreon, and it got deleted within 2 hours or less. It's called Something Terrible is Happening to the Global Financial System, Part 2 with Kent Lewis. You cannot find that on YouTube. It's only on Rumble, Odyssey, and BitChute. I also have some uncensored conversations with Crypto Blood, with my friend Rob Harris, some with Litecoin Lisa, and others. The Spirituality of Law series is no longer on Rice TVX YouTube, but it is on Rice Against the Grain, and you can find it on Rumble as well. So trying to put all the videos over on Rumble and Odyssey from both channels, but separating the channels themselves from each other in order to try to combat some of this censorship and shadow banning that I'm dealing with, unfortunately. All right, so real quick, I'm going to go full screen. I have partnered up with ITM Trading, in case you don't know. And I put a video out a couple days ago, stacking gold and silver every day. If you have not watched this, make sure you watch it. I do talk about my partnership with ITM Trading and encourage you guys to make sure you're taking advantage of my partnership 100%, because ITM Trading is a very reputable company, and Lynette Zhang has been a long time guest. She's been on the show for 5 years. She was my second interview. Awesome person, very intelligent, over 50 years of research experience on currencies and economics. And her strategies are historically proven to protect you from any economic situation, especially a currency collapse. And that's what we're talking about, a bank run because of the market crash that the FDIC knows is going to happen. And this involves investing in gold and silver. So I did a call with her recently and really liked what I learned. And I asked her if she'd be willing to provide the same information and same advice to you guys. And she said she'd be willing to do it. So normally these strategy calls are reserved for existing ITM Trading clients, but Lynette has agreed to offer these strategy calls on stacking gold and silver to the Rice TVX community for free, with no obligation to buy anything. And I mean that for real. It's an excellent opportunity for you to learn about the power of gold and silver and how you can use it to protect your family's purchasing power during challenging economic times. And again, the call is free. Doesn't cost anything. You could take advantage of this offer today without having to be an existing ITM client. So I'm seriously, take advantage. I can also promise you that they are more concerned about educating you than selling to you. And the call is absolutely free. So the way that you would support the channel specifically, you see the landing page here on screen. This is linked down below in the video description, and I'll put it in the pinned comment after the live stream. You would call this specific 866 number. This number was customized for Rice TVX. There's also a Calendly link where you can schedule a strategy call, and that is very specific to Rice TVX. And this learn.itm.com/RiceTVX is a specific landing page. These are the 3 ways that they're able to track that you are a Rice TVX community member. And when you call them, they may ask you how you found out about ITM Trading, because again, these calls aren't available to just the general public. So I really appreciate Lynette for taking the opportunity to offer this to everybody who's a community subscriber, viewer of Rice TVX and Rice Against the Grain. The number is 866-516-5028, and it is a way to protect yourself. And I encourage you, with the inflation, with everything that's going on, with purchasing power being lost and your money being devalued, having your wealth, your savings in something like gold and silver is going to preserve that. And it's proven itself throughout time. So let me look at the last little bit of comments, and then we will wrap up the video. I do encourage you guys to have a great weekend. If you did not watch, I was on Around the Blockchain today. I did win that episode. I think I win more times than I lose, but I was on that episode with some great guests. And if you haven't seen that, I would definitely encourage you to watch today's episode of Around the Blockchain. And I'm going to be going live tomorrow at 1:00 p.m. Eastern time on ethanlucas.com for the Ethan Lucas Show. He's invited me on to have a conversation about the legal fiction law and everything that we've learned over the past few years and our thoughts regarding the legal fiction straw man. So we will be live tomorrow at 1:00 p.m. Eastern time on his website, ethanlucas.com, and go to the show section. And it's at 1:00 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. And I may upload it on Rumble, Odyssey, and BitChute in the next couple days. But definitely tune in for that. Okay. Just looking at the comments real quick here. ISO Jetpack, good seeing you. The banks will sell you up the river. I 100% agree, and I definitely love Rumble. It is a good alternative right now for YouTube. It's the best alternative that I can see. I love Odyssey, but Rumble has a little bit more going for them right now. But I am utilizing both platforms. Not even going to try to say it. Well, I'll try to, because it's not like it's hard words. Monterey monetize, monitor screen watch. All energy being monitored for mining. Interesting. Kyle Rosa, banking was conceived in iniquity and was born of sin. Josiah Stamp, 1880 to 1941, director of the Bank of England. Many great quotes. That is a great quote, and it's one that I'm unfamiliar with. Thank you for sharing. Humans are subject to manipulation, which makes us all hackable. Yes, but if we were to get something like a Neuralink, we would be completely hackable. So make sure you watch that video, because it puts together some interesting research and brings together some interesting questions. I am Phil. How long have you been following Rice? I've been here since 2018. Found like Queen Lisa less than a year ago. I always love it when I got people who have been around for a minute, and I appreciate all the longtime subscribers and viewers. It means a great deal. Susie Gemini, thank you again. Yeah, I've known Lisa for quite a few years. I met her at least in 2018. I appreciate you so much, and you're the best. Definitely ethanlucas.com, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you, David. I appreciate that. I'm not actually. I'm doing a little bit more research about Matrix Freedom and ATBAFE. This is the kind of content that I've moved over to Rice Against the Grain. So if you're not subscribed over there, I would definitely encourage you to make sure you are subscribed. And I will have a link down below in the video description, but you can find me at Rice Against the Grain. That is where you will find the content known as Stranger Than Fiction. I've deleted all of those videos from Rice TVX, and I'll talk more about that. And it was definitely a very sickening feeling. I've deleted lots of views, lots of videos. Everything Stranger Than Fiction, except for the Ethan Lucas episodes, which is an ongoing series, has been deleted from Rice TVX. And I'm in the process of reposting those videos, the majority of them, over on Rice Against the Grain. But I need to do a little bit more research on Matrix Freedom. I have not been hearing any good things. They uploaded my video to a YouTube channel, and I asked them to remove them. And I had made the videos private before I deleted them. So I need to do a little bit more research. There's a couple more people I wanted to talk to that are being a little difficult. Somebody who's apparently got a lot of information regarding Ian. And yeah, it sucks when you interview people and you find out that things aren't exactly on the up and up, and they may be in essence harming people, and I would be facilitating that harm, and it really upsets me. So I need to do a lot more vetting on people before I bring them on, and I'll also try to clarify, just because I have a guest on doesn't mean that I agree with or support anything that they have to talk about. The way that we learn and progress is to challenge what we think we know. And the best way to do that is to talk with people who have differing opinions and things that you don't agree with. So hopefully that makes sense. Yes, I was going to have him on again, but that's been quite a while. I definitely want to get to the bottom of it 100%. And there's a guy, I just know that he goes by the Spaniard. He knows a lot of information about Ian, but he's being really difficult to communicate with. I'm not against it. I just need to learn more about it. I do like Yusuf L. He is somebody who I think puts out some good information. I haven't followed any of these steps, and I will be doing an updated video. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. If you're asking the questions about the law stuff, please tune in tomorrow at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern time on ethanlucas.com, because we're going to be talking about the law stuff. I'll give everybody a little bit of an update on my journey, what I've done, what I've not done, who I follow still out of the people I've interviewed, and where I'm going to continue going, because I am going to be interviewing a lot more people in this space. But again, if you are a fan of that content, the law studies, the legal fiction, the spirituality, the hidden history, any of the fringe topics under the stranger than fiction name, it is now going to be on Rice Against the Grain. Rice TVX is going to be focusing specifically and only crypto, technology, economics, and politics. Do appreciate everybody for taking the time to tune in. As far as BB's course, when she offered it to me, I was traveling. So I need to get back in touch with her and find out when she's offering the course again, because I wasn't going to be able to attend all the classes. So I hope that answers your question as well, Josh. I'm not going to get her back on until I do the class, because I need to find out what she's saying has relevancy and legitimacy. Definitely tune in tomorrow, man. Thank you. And I do try my best, man, to really take time for the community. And that's something I want to be making sure I do a whole lot more of once I get this private website built. So again, I definitely encourage you guys to consider supporting my work and becoming a lifetime member to my private website. And make sure you are signed up for my mailing list so you don't miss any updates on all things Rice. And if you have not, make sure you smash that like button, because it does help. Now, before we wrap up, in case you guys missed it, I'm going to play that video of the FDIC leak. And before I leave you with this, because this is how we're going to end today's video, my mantra. I encourage you to be a blessing to others. Treat people how you want to be treated. Question everything. And be the glitch you want to see in the matrix. And until next time, practice change. Much love.
It should be accessible when people need to know, but I don't think you have much hope of reaching a public that doesn't have a professional need to know.
I completely agree with that. I almost think you'd scare the public if you put this out. Like, why are they telling me this? Should I be concerned about my bank? Like, my insurance company doesn't tell me what they're doing with my assets. They just assume they're going to pay my claim, right? I think you've got to think of the unintended consequences of taking a public that has more full faith and confidence in the banking system than maybe people in this room do. That we want them to have full faith and confidence in the banking system. They know the FDIC insurance is there. They know it works. They put their money in. They're going to get their money out. So there's a select crowd of people that are in the institutional side. And if they want to understand this, they're going to find a way to understand this. There's a bunch of law firms represented in this room. There's a bunch of people that charge them by the hour a lot of money to explain this all to them. And it's fine. I don't have a problem with that. And they all have huge staffs. But I would be careful about the unintended consequences of starting to blast too much of this out in the general public.
It is well enough that people of our nation do not understand our banking and monetary system. For if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning. Henry Ford.